All right, we're going to put the maximum pressure on North Korea. Well, we already got a lot of sanction pressure on them as it is. So how do we top that? Let's get the read from Senate Armed Services Committee member Dan Sullivan. Senator, thank you for taking the time. What do we do?
Good to be here, Neil. Well, listen, I support what the president did today. You know, between the letter he wrote and Secretary Pompeo's testimony today in front of the Senate, it was clear that the North Korean lack of engagement and the increasing hostility was a reason to put off the meeting, cancel the meeting. But, you know, you touched on a key principle here, and I think the president's got a lot of experience in negotiating. He's had a good team with him. But he can't want this deal too badly. He can't want it too much. You mentioned Reagan at the top there, Reykjavik. He walked away from it. I think one of the big challenges with our former Secretary of State Kerry on the Iran deal, he wanted the deal too much, and everybody knew it, and then we got a bad deal. So I support what the president did today.
All right, what was interesting about the Reagan Reykjavik example that you mentioned when he and Mikhail Gorbachev were meeting in Iceland is that the president there was given a sheet of paper from what, you know, historic folklore has it, that had the basic parts of the agreement, what he was going to sign on to, including giving away this Star Wars defense initiative. The president read that, and maybe they assumed, oh, he doesn't read, he's not into that. And he just said, the hell I will. And he literally walked up, and that was it. It's prominently featured at the Reagan Library, one of my favorite spots there.
Me too.
So this president avoided that beforehand. What has he got to watch out for now, assuming the North Koreans try to scramble to get something back on? That's a big assumption.
Well, look, what the president is doing, the policies that he is putting forward, we're supporting in the Congress, he needs to continue those. And that's what has brought Kim Jong-un really close to the table. What are those policies? It's the maximum pressure campaign. That's the diplomacy. That diplomacy is being backed up by credible military options that Secretary Mattis is developing, which empowers our diplomacy. And importantly, Neil, doesn't get a lot of press, but we are significantly rebuilding our nation's missile defense. I had a bill last year that passed the Senate, was signed by the president, fully funded. We're going to do more of that now, but all three of these policies continue to apply maximum pressure. We can't let that up. That's what brought Kim Jong-un to the table, and I think that's what the administration's intent on doing.
You know, we mentioned the Reagan example, Senator, and I do remember there was this view after that, the way this Reagan guy is unpredictable. He's very impulsive. He'll do something that you didn't plan on. You fast forward to today, and maybe that's the new view. If it is a new view, it would be a naive view because it's been the case for a while, that this president will surprise you. Now, if you're on the other end of the negotiating team there, how does that change your posture?
Well, look, I think that there was all this talk, a Nobel Peace Prize, and obviously it was very premature. But, you know, I think whether it's President Trump or President Reagan, you know, there's a temptation to move forward and say, hey, maybe we can get something, but sticking to the principle of making the call, I do not want this too badly. I'm going to stick by my principles of what's important for the overall deal is the key, and showing, as the president did today, he doesn't want this too badly, I think actually empowers him later, the way it empowered Reagan with regard to Gorbachev.
You know, you mentioned that, though. It's a clear sign as any that the president isn't too keen on necessarily getting the Nobel Peace Prize. There's things that might be considered more important than that.
Well, the security of America is a lot more important than a prize that sometimes has dubious value given some of the other people who've gotten it.
Yeah, but it does look nice on a bookshelf. I mean, but that's a whole other thing for another discussion. Senator, thank you
Thanks,
very,
Neil.
very much. Well, you know, it is